Alright, first and foremost, I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh, Bashem Yoshai, Bashem Kakwadash, the bonus to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, and salutations to all brothers pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. And the brother Higher from James Kingston, Jamaica camp, here once again with a quick lesson. This is just to give you an update on the MOTB. You should already know what the MOTB is, right? What we also classify as the CHIP. This is just an update of its progress in Jamaica, right? Because right now Jamaica is going through a digital transformation process, and it's currently pushing the CBDC. Right? When you go to the book of Revelation, right? Revelation chapter 13. Chapter 13, verse 16. It says, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right now we're in the stage where he's causing. Right? So now let's look up that word, cause it. Right? The word cause it goes back to the Greek word peio, which means to make ready, to prepare. Right? So he's making ready and he's preparing everyone to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Right? So that is what this current process is all about. See, in the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, which in Jamaica is known as the JAMDEX, right? In other countries, it's classified under another name, like the dinar. You understand? There are other names for central bank digital currencies of other countries, but in Jamaica, it's JAMDEX, right? And it's a part of the framework for the MOTB. So the article states, this article was released yesterday. So it states that transport operators say they are ready to embrace the Bank of Jamaica's central bank digital currency, JAMDEX, and could do so in time for the new year if things fall in place. And this is pretty much it being accepted by operators, taxi operators, which is the country's main means of transport, right? Currently in Jamaica, you have other means of transport such as InDrive and Uber. Those already facilitate acceptance of the central bank digital currency JAMDEX via the digital wallet known as Link, right? So Link is the platform on which individuals are able to make digital transfers, right? So currently they are pushing it on taxi operators. So back to the article, says Aldo Antonio, co-founder and acting executive chairman of the National Transporters Alliance Group, said he has been lobbying amongst transport owners to embrace JAMDEX as a means of improving the efficiency of their operation and to reduce costs and security risk. I see JAMDEX as something that would be significantly transformative for the public transportation sector and needs to be embraced, Antonio said. Antonio told the Jamaica Observer. But he said he understands if at the moment his fellow transportation owners are not gung-ho, especially with the low levels of participation of both vendors and consumers using JAMDEX, right? One of the things that we have recognized at NTAG is that you have to have sufficient numbers of people using JAMDEX to make it feasible. So no matter how many merchants there are, if there aren't sufficient customers using it, then the merchants will become discouraged over time and abandon it, right? And there is means of actually preparing people to embrace it gradually. right? It's called exclusivity. So there are going to be certain benefits where users of Jamdex are that are available to only users of Jamdex, right? And those who are not using it won't have that benefit, right? So that's why when you go down into this in Revelation chapter 13, where it says, He called it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. This is going to come through, play out in a gradual process. You understand? No man might buy or sell. There are going to be certain exclusive benefits that is available only to users of Jamdex, and they are going to make it, and they are going to do this gradually. So there is going to basically be like levels in terms of how people are going to gain access to certain things. You understand? Gradualism, right? So that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. You understand? So back to here. So it says, one of the things that we have recognized at NTAG is that you have to have sufficient numbers of people using Jamdex to make it feasible. So no matter how many merchants there are, if there aren't sufficient customers using it, then the merchants will become discouraged over time and abandon it, right? And we all know that they are not going to allow that to happen, right? They're going to continually push this agenda, right? It is a system which has to be pushed on both ends in an aggressive way, because even if you have Jamdex through one of the wallets on your phone, example link, if you don't have enough merchants accepting it, it doesn't make sense, right? So they are going to give benefits to merchants to accept it, and we already see some of those benefits that they have pushed out there. I think one of them is that the first there's a number to it, I can't remember, but there's a number to the first couple sign-ups, right? I think they get like $2,500, right? For individuals who sign up that are taxi operators, I think they get what 20 something, thousand Jamaican dollars. I'll have to do the research, but they have already, individuals are already sign up, has already gotten benefits from this, right? So you can see the push of how they are influencing people to accept this more and more, right? He said he believes getting transport owners to use Jamdex as an acceptable means of payment, bus and tax fares will go a far way. Bus and taxi fares will go a far way in helping to proliferate the use of the digital currency. We recognize that there are two things that Jamaican people do transaction with every day. That is food and transportation. So they have already done the research. They have already realized what they need to target the most in the economy to gain the majority of people to accept it. So you're about to see a major push in these two sectors, right? To enable Jamaicans to embrace the digital currency, right? So you're going to probably see discounts on foods, discounts in taxi fare, so on and so forth, right? So if we can get them moving and paying for transportation using Jamdex on a daily basis, it increases the rate at which we can get the digital currency into people's hand, right? Hint, hint, right? Hint, hint. So it says what? That they may receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So ultimately, they're actually talking about having it on your phone, right? In this context, but ultimately, what they are planning to do is to put it in your hand via the RFID CHIP, right? So it says, on the other hand, the bus and taxi operators, they have a major challenge on a daily basis accounting for cash, and we know how expensive it is to collect cash, store cash, and pay cash to the bank. It is a time-consuming and costly process. With Jamdex and digital wallets, the money goes into your account immediately, so you can eliminate those kind of cost factors to worry about. So they are selling it through the means of ease. You understand? He said it will also help to eliminate the worry transport operators have about making change for passengers. Right? So they are telling you the benefits, but they are not telling you the downside of this thing and their ultimate plan. They're not telling you that they can actually restrict you from certain activities if they find you to be in breach of their regulation and so on and so forth. If you are against the system, they have ultimate power and control if they fully implement this thing, right? It says in most instances, for example, especially in the rural areas, the average fare is like $120. In most instances, the operators would have to be walking around with sufficient coins to make change after a passenger pays the fare, or he has to collect a lot of these $20 coin and store them in the car on a daily basis. And so what you will find sometimes is that they just can't bother. For transport owners, he said leakages would be plugged, right? It says still, as he pushes to get his fellow transport owners to embrace use of Jamdex in their daily operation, Antonio said he understands that some are reticent. Let's look up that word. Reticent. Reserved. Like to use big word, eh? Alright. The obvious reluctance stems from them not seeing it available for them to use for transactions in their daily lives. So for them, it's something that people are talking about, but they haven't yet seen it around them. From that perspective, there is a sense of ambivalence because they don't see it around them. He said if there is sufficient take-up within the sector, passengers would be able to pay fares with Jamdex pretty soon. It's just a matter of having the facility on their phones that can be done within the space of about 4 weeks. With that happening and training happening, then the sector could be in a position by January, if not before, to be able to accept Jamdex type payments, right? So we can see the massive push in the acceptance of it, right? And the benefit they are saying that taxi operators will have, right? So I think the point has been made. Jamdex is a far way in Jamaica, and it's a far way to being embraced and accepted. You understand? And with this process in place, we can ultimately see the new agenda, which is the implementation of the CHIP and the other benefits that they'll claim that it will have on the population. And with that will come the dystopia, right? And the order through chaos that the so-called white man wants to establish, right? So with that, I hope that this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. I want to say Kalalal Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash, the abundance to the elders and apostles of Great Stone, and salutations to all brothers pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom.